Greetings. This is the one you've known as Jesus the Christ. I'm happy to be here today and talk with you about a little trick of consciousness which will help you tune in to silence, the stillness at the core of your being. Listening is the trick. Listening is a very simple and easy way to tune into and discover who you really are. By listening, I mean moving into a receptive mode in which you're listening not only with your ears, but with your entire body, listening for what is arising in this very moment. Listening in this way brings you into the present moment. Just as listening to a bell, a mantra, a sound, or someone's words brings you into the present moment, simple listening with no goal beyond just listening also brings you into the present moment. Whenever you listen this way, you'll hear things with your ears, but you'll also hear things on a more subtle level, communications from your deeper self, which arise to guide you and give you the information and knowings you need to unfold your life as intended. This listening is not only listening for sound, it's listening for whatever is arising here and now on a subtle level. Yes, sensations and other sensory experiences are arising, but on a more subtle level, experiences are also arising. If you're lost in thoughts or even in a sensory experience, you'll miss out on the more subtle experience of life, which is your being's experience of life, and also how your being expresses itself to you in this life. Your being doesn't speak to you in words in your head like the ego does, not usually. It expresses itself through intuition, which is a subtle form of expression. Attunement to this subtle realm is developed as you evolve spiritually. Some develop it more strongly than others, but this attunement does naturally develop as you evolve spiritually. You learn to turn your attention away from the grosser mental realm of the ego to the realm of the here and now, the realm of your divine self. At a certain point in your evolution, you realize that there is something else here besides the mental realm and the physical experiences you're having, and you begin to be curious about the subtle realm. So you tune into it. You learn to listen to it, which is what I'm talking about. Learning to listen to silence, to the sounds, but also to silence. In this silence, everything is born. This silence is not just silence. It's not just the absence of sound. Silence is the ground of being from which everything arises. The mind doesn't see it this way, though. It disregards silence, the experience and expression of your being, the communications it sends to you. If you listen to the mind, you won't be looking for anything beyond the mind, because it doesn't encourage you to look to the subtle realm. It tells you, there's nothing there. Let's go back to the imagination. But it's wrong. There's a great deal going on. Life is going on. Life is arising from the silence, from the stillness, which is not actually all that still. In every moment, there is something new being born from this silence. It might be an intuition, an inspiration, an idea, an excitement or joy. Or it might be a drive to do something, pursue something, or learn something. This is how your divine self speaks to you, in subtle inspirations, urges, drives, joy, and excitement. This is not the excitement of the ego when it imagines success or getting what it wants. It's a different kind of excitement, which will lead to your ultimate fulfillment and joy. It is a deeper joy and a deeper happiness than the happiness your ego wants. Once you know that your divine self is communicating with you on a moment-to-moment basis, you can turn your attention to that and see just what it's communicating. It takes some skill and development to be able to catch the subtle arisings from your divine self. But many of you catch these communications without even being aware you're catching them or where they're coming from. As often as you follow the ego's desires, you also follow the divine self's so-called desires, its drives, urges, and intentions. There isn't a one of you who is not following your divine self's intentions and unfolding your life accordingly to some extent. It's just a matter of to what extent you're doing that. Progress on the spiritual path means that you follow the divine self's intentions more regularly, consistently, and completely. Progress is marked by not allowing your thoughts about yourself and your life, the ego's thoughts, to determine your actions, speech, and direction, but allowing the divine self to determine your actions, speech, and direction. This is a process, and it takes time to develop this ability and the willingness to move out of the ego's realm into the divine self's realm and have that be what operates in your life more fully and completely. The difference between these two modes of guidance, the ego's guidance and the divine self's, is the difference, you could say, between heaven and hell. The ego's guidance doesn't bring happiness, but suffering and a never-ending lack of contentment. The divine self's guidance, on the other hand, brings the unfoldment of your talents, the expression of your potential, the fulfillment of your gifts, and the great love and peace of your divine nature. This is what you want. The egoic mind's commands, demands, opinions, perceptions, and shoulds will not bring you happiness. So learning to move away from those demands, changing what master you march to, will change your life. It will change your life because you aren't meant to find happiness by following the ego. When you do that, you'll have lessons and difficulties and discover that that is not the way to go, and you'll learn to look elsewhere for guidance. You're meant to discover that you have been following a false master and that you no longer need to do that you can trust this deeper, more subtle guidance. Yes, this guidance is more subtle, but it is more trustworthy. It is the only thing that is trustworthy, and your life will run much more smoothly, much more easily, and you'll draw to you what you need. You will draw to you the people, opportunities, support, wisdom, clarity, and guidance you need to live the life you are meant to live. It is intended for you to be happy, and you must find your way to happiness by discovering what doesn't make you happy and looking elsewhere for what can make you happy, what will make you happy, and what does make you happy. As we have said before, it is learning, growth, love, peace, creating, connecting and sharing with others, and service to others that will make you most happy. Each of you has talents, abilities, and a certain personality, all of which are meant to be expressed and explored and further developed in this lifetime. That will bring you great happiness. And there's a greater plan that intends to use your talents, abilities, and unique personality to improve the world, to bring goodness to the world. You all have gifts, but they won't be adequately utilized or used in a way that will bring fulfillment if you're listening to the mind's version of how to live your life and use those talents. So often the ego discourages people from using their abilities and talents if it's perceived that those talents and abilities won't bring the person money or power. Money and power are what the ego is looking for, and if following your heart and fulfilling your life plan is not perceived by the ego to be worthwhile in terms of money and power, then it will take you in another direction, away from your soul's plan. If that happens, you will not be happy, because your happiness depends on fulfilling what you came here to do. When you feel unhappy, that might be a sign that you aren't fulfilling that plan, that you're following the wrong guidance and not going in the direction of your soul's deepest desires. The ego has its own ideas about how you should live your life. Those ideas are based on how much money, power, comfort, and superiority you're likely to get when you go in certain directions. This is a very limited formula for happiness. Go toward money, go toward power, go toward safety, security, comfort. There are so many people in your world who would never have accomplished great things if they had followed that formula. They would never have done the things that ended up changing the world. This is what following your heart means. Following your heart doesn't mean following your emotions. Most emotions come from the conditioned realm. If following your heart to you means follow your joy and your deeper excitement, then by all means follow those feelings. Follow love. Follow the deeper joy of your divine self. But do not follow your feelings of anger or frustration or hurt or guilt. Do not follow your feelings of guilt. So many miss the mark when they do that. You will never be happy if you let guilt or fear rule your life. Those feelings belong to the ego's realm, and you are meant to discover that they do not yield good results. You'll be happy when you follow your joy, your love, and your peace. Those are your birthright. Those are what you are here to experience and know deeply. Allow those to move you. Allow your love to move you. Allow peace to move you. Allow wisdom and clarity to move you. How could you possibly build anything but a happy life if you do that? These deeper feelings or qualities of the divine self are completely trustworthy, and they're meant to guide your life. But they're subtle. They're more subtle than the ego's emotions and more subtle than the words in your head. The love we're speaking of is not a gushy love. It is not an ecstatic love. This love is a subtle experience of being aligned with the goodness within you and the desire to share that goodness. This love that is your divine nature is subtle, but it is profound. It is the nature of the universe, and when you align with the nature of the universe will support you. It will love you back. This is very important for you to know, that following your heart and attuning to this subtle realm is entirely trustworthy. It will bring you nothing but more love, nothing but goodness and support. That is what you're here to experience. You are not meant to suffer. Please know this now. It is so important that you know this, so that you can claim your good and live the life you're meant to live, which will no doubt be of service to the whole. That is what you're here for. As you serve your own self in the deepest sense of the word, with a capital S, you serve the whole. So make this your goal, that you serve the divine by giving your attention to your divine self. Listen to it, be receptive, see what you can find out, be curious, turn away from the noisy mind and look into the silence of yourself. I thank you for being here. I thank you for your openness. I wish you all love and peace. I am with you always.